What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So, the leaks for Wuthering Waves 2.8 are flowing, and today we are diving deep into one of the most anticipated characters so far, CHISA. We're talking her full gameplay kit, her signature weapon, and her powerful resonance chains. Now, as always, I gotta hit you with the disclaimer right at the top. This is all based on pre-release beta information. Things are subject to change, so take it all with a grain of salt. But what we're seeing right now is absolutely insane. But before we jump into the rest of the events, a quick word from today's sponsor. Lootbar.gg is a site that gives you big discounts on your in-game purchases. Let's take Wuthering Waves as an example. You can actually see the price difference right away when you compare. The process is super simple. Pick the pack you want, click Top Up, choose your payment method, and that's it. Your rewards show up right on your account. And don't worry, your login info is completely cleared after the transaction, so it's safe. New users can get up to 21% off plus additional discount coupons from the link in the description. And yes, first-time top-up bonuses are available as well. Alright, so let's set the stage. Chisa is a 5-star character, and her element is Havoc. But here's the twist. She's not just a pure damage dealer. She's a hybrid, wielding a massive broad blade, and she brings a crazy, unique playstyle to the table that balances dealing massive havoc damage with actually healing and supporting her whole team. The core of her kit revolves around her ability to switch between a standard mode and what we're calling her chainsaw mode. It's all about applying a debuff called Void Mark, triggering something called Havoc Bane, and building up these stacks called Saw Ring Echo to supercharge her biggest attacks. It sounds complex, but stick with me, because by the end of this, you'll see why she might be a must-pull. Let's start with her basic attacks, because even those have layers. It begins simple enough, a standard 2-hit combo. But right after that, the normal attack button changes. It becomes a move called Fisher's Pierce, which deals havoc damage, and the sequence doesn't end there. If you press the normal attack again after Fisher's Pierce, she unleashes Scissors of Severance. Now this move is wild. It does a chunk of havoc damage, but here's the kicker. This damage is considered resonance liberation damage, meaning it'll benefit from any buffs to her ultimate. And on top of that, it heals all of your nearby teammates. The animation has these giant scissors opening up, staying open for a moment, and then snapping shut. But you aren't just waiting around. If you tap the normal attack button again during that opening window, you accelerate the snap, making the damage and heal happen instantly. So there's already a little bit of skill expression in her basic combo. Next up, her resonance skill. Tapping it deals a dose of havoc damage, and after you use it, your normal attacks can pick up right from the second part of her basic combo, which is super smooth for keeping your damage flow going. But the real fun begins when her forte gauge is full. This is where her kit transforms. Once that gauge is maxed out, her standard resonance skill upgrades into Cogwheel Cycle. This enhanced skill deals havoc damage and, crucially, it pulls in all nearby enemies that have been marked with her Void Mark debuff. And casting Cogwheel Cycle is what triggers her transformation. It throws her directly into her chainsaw mode. This is her powered-up state. In chainsaw mode, her resonance skill is replaced by a new ability called Eye of Release. And while you're channeling this, if you press your normal attacks, you're continuously pulling in any enemies affected by Void Mark. It's a fantastic grouping tool that sets up for huge damage. Her Resonance Liberation, her ultimate, while in chainsaw mode, is just a full package. It deals a big burst of havoc damage, restores HP to your entire team, and on top of that, it gives her a personal damage multiplier buff for her chainsaw mode attacks that lasts for 15 seconds. But here's the strategic part. If you cast her ultimate a second time, while this buff is still active, it ends the buff early. So you have to decide. Do you use the second ult for immediate burst? Or do you let the first buff run its course to maximize your damage over time? I love that kind of decision-making. Now, let's circle back to the core of her whole Forte system, the Void Mark. She applies this debuff to enemies for a solid 30 seconds through several methods. Her basic resonance skill, the upgraded Cogwheel Cycle, her Eye of Release in chainsaw mode, or even just by locking onto them. Once an enemy has Void Mark, every time they take damage, Chisa applies a stack of Havoc Bane onto them. This is her primary damage-dealing debuff. Chainsaw mode also changes her attack chains, and it's in this mode that she can use her second Liberation, the Saw Ring finale. This move deals its own portion of havoc damage and, get this, it grants a 30-second shield to all your nearby resonators. So she's healing, shielding, and buffing, all while swinging a chainsaw. What's not to love? But wait, there's more. Outside of her chainsaw mode, you're actively building up Saw Ring echo stacks. You get these from using normal attacks, resonance skills, and resonance liberations. You can stack these up to a whopping 100 times, and each stack directly increases the damage of her big finisher, the Saw Ring finale. So there's a direct reward for weaving your kit together before you unleash your biggest nuke. Now for her passive talents, her inherent skills. Her first one is a classic reset mechanic. Whenever she defeats a target that's afflicted with Havoc Bane, it immediately resets the cooldown of her Eye of Release skill. This is huge for mobbing scenarios, letting you group enemies over and over. Her second inherent skill is a straight-up stat boost. Whenever she casts her intro skill or her resonance liberation, she gets a buff to her Havoc damage and her healing bonus. It makes her heal stronger and her damage bigger right when you need it. Then we have her outro skill, the skill she triggers when you swap off of her. This is a massive support tool for your next character. It increases the number of negative status effects that enemies can receive by 3 for 15 seconds. But that's not all. Applying a negative status effect also grants the team a buff called Avoid Annihilation Thread for 15 seconds. While this buff is active, for every stack of Havoc Bane on an enemy, CHISA can ignore up to 18% of their defense. This is an absolutely insane damage amplification mechanic for your entire team. Alright, let's talk about her signature weapon. This thing is a stat stick dream. It has a base attack of 500 and a secondary stat of a massive 36% crit rate. Just from that, it's best in slot for any damage dealer. But its passive effect is tailor-made for her. First, it boosts her attack by 12%. Then, when she uses her intro skill or inflicts a negative status effect on an enemy, her resonance liberation damage goes up by 8%. This effect can stack up to 3 times and lasts for 15 seconds. So that's a potential 24% boost to her ultimate damage. And at maximum stacks, the real team utility kicks in. Any team member who inflicts or deals damage with a negative status effect gets a 24% bonus to all attribute damage for 15 seconds. This synergizes perfectly with her own outro skill and makes her an unparalleled support for reaction-based teams. Just a reminder, effects with the same name don't stack. Finally, let's break down her resonance chains, the dupes that take her from great to absolutely game-breaking. Sequence 1. This is a huge quality of life and damage boost. It makes her immune to interruption while she's in chainsaw mode. No more getting knocked out of your big damage window. Plus, applying Void Mark increases her attack by 30% for 15 seconds. And here's the team play cherry on top. When a teammate kills a target with Void Mark, CHISA gains String Horizon for 3 seconds. During this time, your team's skills will automatically apply Void Mark to any target they hit. This is insane for spreading her debuff like wildfire. Sequence 2, straightforward but powerful. It increases your team's damage when allies are under the effect of her Void Annihilation Thread from her outro skill, and it increases the damage dealt to enemies near them by 24%. More team damage, more synergy. Sequence 3, this is a massive direct damage upgrade for her key attacks. It boosts the damage multipliers for her Swift Strike and Finale attacks by 120%. And as if that wasn't enough, it gives an additional 120% bonus damage based on the number of Saw Ring Echo stacks she consumes. On top of all that, it boosts their resonance gauge breaking ability by 50%. This makes her not only a damage monster, but also an elite shield breaker. Sequence 4. This is a consistency upgrade. It improves how fast she applies Havoc Bane. Instead of being able to apply 1 stack every 2 seconds, she can now apply 1 stack every second. This means she ramps up to her max damage potential much, much faster. Sequence 5. This supercharges one of her other abilities, Instant Return to Nothingness, by doubling its damage bonus. It also cuts the cost of her Fate String Pillage ability in half. This is a significant power spike for her overall rotation and resource management. Sequence 6. And here it is, the crown jewel. This is what turns her into a boss-melting machine. It straight up increases her damage to targets with Void Mark by 24%. If that target is below half health, you get an extra 24% damage increase. So that's 48% increased damage against wounded enemies. But it doesn't stop there. It causes specific high-priority targets to take an absolutely mind-boggling 1000% increased damage from her Saw Ring finale and instant return to nothingness abilities. Let me repeat that. 1000%. This isn't just a power spike. It's a vertical launch into the stratosphere. So, let's recap. Chisa is a Havoc Broadblade user who can deal massive damage, group enemies, heal the entire party, shield the team, apply defense shred, and buff everyone's elemental damage. She is, without a doubt, the definition of a power creep hybrid unit based on these leaks. The real question is, will you be pulling? Are you going all in for her and maybe even her signature weapon? Or are her resonance chains so game-breaking that you're tempted to go for duplicates? Maybe you're saving for another character entirely? Let me know exactly what you're thinking down in the comments below. I love reading your pull plans and theories. If you found this deep dive helpful and you're as excited about Chisa as I am, please do leave a like on this video. It really helps the channel out. And make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on so you don't miss our full review when she officially launches. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you in the next one.